Alright, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to get going. Round 17 of the championship. In case you guys are watching the YouTube highlights and you're wondering why we're so happy, we've had about 20, 30, maybe 40... You know, we've been here for 2 years waiting for Codemasters to work so that we can get into this game. But it's finally time, so let's run you through that grid order. Formula Danny takes pole. As usual, he returns for the Japanese Grand Prix as Leopard takes second, ahead of Foton and Ballast Kevin. Stones takes fifth in the Mercedes ahead of Andinator as Lehman and Mark round out the fourth row of the grid. Napadovsky and Krusik complete the top 10 as Kardinov joins us for his debut ORL Grand Prix. He's going to be one to watch out for as ERL Bulkson sits in 12th ahead of Mr. Anker, Matthias and Leonard. Jake takes 16th as Carlsfer and Nameless did not make any qualifying laps. They'll be starting at the back of the grid. In the Drivers' Championship, Foton leads with 235 points. He has a chance to win the championship tonight. Hyperz is in second, but he's excluded from the rest of the season. Napadovsky in third, with Lehman and Formula Danny fourth and fifth. Mark sits in sixth, with Leopard in seventh. Matthias in eighth, Hayes in ninth, and on 52 points in 10th is Nameless. Byron, would you be so kind to take us through those constructors' standings?
I will be so kind. In first place, we have Toro Rosso on 266 points. Second place, we have Mercedes on 195. Only 15 points behind do we have Red Bull in third on 180 points. Williams in fourth on 146 points. Scuderia Ferrari in fifth place with 125. Alfa Romeo Racing, not known as Sauber, Mr. Milky, and 103 points, sorry. McLaren in 7th, the 119 on 93 points. Renault on 73 points. Haas on 69 points. Nice. And rounding off the table as Racing Point in 65th. Well, 65 points.
In 65th. That's a lot of teams in the standings, Byron. Confirmation of the tyres as Panther put out for us. All of the top 10 on softs. Everyone else on mediums except Leonard. Foton needs to pick 16 points more than Napadovsky to seal the title tonight. It's all on the cards. Formula Danny, our familiar face on a pole. We know how quick Leopard is. We'll have to see what will be happening down into turn 1. 27 laps. It is a longer race. The 5 red lights are coming up, and it's going to be time to go racing as the revs rise, and away we go for the 17th time this season. Formula Danny gets a good start, but the Alfa Romeo of Ballast Kevin not getting the best of starts, and round the outside actually goes one of the Mercedes as Foton has a little look at Leopard, but he's not going to be able to make anything work as Zones and Lehman sit 4th and 5th. Andinator takes 6th ahead of Napadovsky, Marks Krusik as Kardinov makes big gains. He's up into 10th place with Matthias in 11th. And Napadovsky, as I saw a couple of cars side by side, that is Kardinov and Matthias, as Matthias picks up the position round the outside into the Casio triangle, and he'll make it work up into the point for the Triton driver. Since we have some news from Black Panther in the pit lane.
Yes, Mr. Anka did pitted in the first lap due to a contact in turn 1 right at the start. I don't know who was at fault, but I know he had some wing damage at the right, so he had to pit for another front wing.
Jake and Nameless might be having a bit of a ding-dong battle here. Side by side, they go into Spoon. Nameless down the inside. He'll pick up the position. As there's a move down behind Andinator and Mark side by side into the center S's. Great battling as Leopard goes a little bit defensive. Nose to tail through 130R, and Foton might be having a go. He's right on the tail. Down the inside, there's almost contact. Leopard will hold on to the position. Formula Danny holds on to first, but look how close Foton is onto Leopard as we make our way down the start-finish straight.
Oh, this is an epic battle. Foton tries to lift from the inside. In fact, Leopard's making a move right now into turn 1.
I think there's a bit of contact. Formula Danny gets pushed out wide. Leopard is leading the Grand Prix. That is 4 times in a row we've been able to say that great battling between the 3 of them. Behind, we're seeing something happening. Bollockson's into the wall. That's into Degner too. Has there been contact? But that's Bollockson's race over and done as he retires from the session. But crucially, Formula Danny's into the pits.
He is now, so all eyes on Leopard. Can he get out ahead That is the question we're all asking right now. Let's watch
There's Danny, he's coming out of the pits, but he's too far behind. Danny's going to feed out into 7th place. He has 3 lap fresher tyres. You said it, Byron. This is the time for Formula Danny to pull out that esports pedigree. Well, he's gone and done that right back on the tail of Leopard, and with a fresher tyres, no less. And he's going to have to go into, the switcheroo down the inside into the Casio triangle. Formula Danny sells Leopard a dummy, and Leopard laps it up as Formula Danny reclaims what is the effective lead of the Japanese Grand Prix. But Leopard has the DRS. He's going right back at this. It's a new fastest lap from Formula Danny, but that doesn't matter. These guys are having a proper scrap here.
There he goes.
Oh, here we go, though. Formula Danny and Leopard into turn 1 side by side. Leopard is not going to give Formula Danny an inch, and Leopard holds on to the position. But here's the thing, Byron, 10 car trains, those are heavy. We don't like heavy stuff. We like fast stuff because we have a two-way battle at the front once again. Look how close Danny is. Here we go into the Casio triangle. Danny will not sell the dummy this time. Nice and early onto the brakes. Doesn't want to ride into the back of Leopard. He learned from the first time he went for that dummy that Leopard would just get the DRS on the straight, and then the move doesn't work out. You want to get DRS here. You want to have a shot, but Danny doesn't get the best of runs, and he's going to have to hold on to 2nd place for now. It's Leopard and Formula Danny once again through 130. Formula Danny, I think he's going to have a go this time. But no, he's going to back out of it as take a look at that. There is a Toro Rosso closing in slowly but surely on these two.
Oh, there is as well. His name is Foton, the current champion.
Oh wait, round the outside into turn 1. Formula Danny's having a shot, and he's going to look to get the slingshot out of 2, but he's just too far back.
Who's 6? Possibly even
Matthias down the
Napadovsky.
inside into the hairpin, turn 11, and that's a good move from Matthias.
Look at the battle at the front. Formula Danny trying to take him on the straight. He has done so. Leopard is now behind Formula Danny, but can he make a move into the triangle? We'll see if he can. Does not look like it, and Formula Danny is able to get himself the race lead, which is so important for him. And now with that ERS advantage, we'll see if he's able to pull away, but Leopard will not have it.
DRS again for Leopard into turn 1. Danny's going to hold it around the outside, and he makes it work as well. Great stuff from the esports drivers. Danny reclaims the lead, and he has DRS on the start-finish straight. Leopard has a new challenger. Is he going to defend? No, he's not. Foton down the inside, and Leopard is going to have to settle for 3rd place. Around is actually behind. We've got a bit of a battle going on. Andinator and Crew 6. Oh, sorry, Cardinov in Crew 6. That's Cardinov up into 8th place. Meanwhile, the battle for 6th place still ongoing, and Cardinov struggling to find a way through on Andinator, as Andinator just has that slipstream on Napadovsky, but this might be a chance. Cardinov will look down the inside into the Casio triangle. There's a bit of contact, more contact as they kind of glitch through each other, and that's Andinator off onto the start-finish straight. He is right up the chuff of the Red Bull. Napadovsky has a bit of a moment, and I think this has to be Cardinov picking up the position. Napadovsky did get DRS, and now Cardinov round the outside into turn 1. Oh, these guys have a lot of practice from racing in the Russian league together. I believe they're 1st and 2nd in that league, but Cardinov makes the move work, and that's Cardinov up into 6th place. Formula Danny's made a mistake, though, because Foton is back within a second of Formula Danny, and he was 2.5 seconds back. Now, I'm just putting this into context. Foton 2nd, Napadovsky 9th. That's Foton winning the championship. You've got Crew 6 2/10 down on Napadovsky, as well as Nameless right there on those fresh soft tires. The championship is here. This could be Foton winning the championship, but he needs to find something onto Formula Danny. It's all to play for, as we're going to be entering the final lap of the race. Foton can see his ORL Season 11 title right in front of him. He has a DRS, but Formula Danny has about 60% ERS available. Now, the question is, both of these drivers were velocity drivers in the past, so I'm not sure if there's any camaraderie. I'm not sure if Formula Danny will give Foton that position. Neither of these guys, actually Foton does have a 3-second time penalty, I do believe, which means that the championship battle is this. Napadovsky, Krusix, and Nameless. Look how close they are. Kardanov hasn't pulled away, which means that Napadovsky will be getting that little bit of a toe.
Yeah, he will be, and that's exactly what he needs. Oh, it's just so close. I don't know where to put my eyes.
It's anyone's guess, really. I'd always feel bad if I missed something at the front. And look how close the Leopard is to Foton. They touch coming out of their hairpin. It's just a few corners remaining of the Japanese Grand Prix. Foton crucially has the slipstream from Formula Danny, but the race isn't over yet. Foton, can he get the drive onto Danny Leopard? I feel he's dropped a little bit too far back. Napadovsky, though, he's really fallen back from Cardinal, but let's just keep our eyes on the front. Foton is close to Formula Danny. Will he go for the dive bomb? Oh, he has to decide against the Formula Danny. Will make it through. He returns to ORL and he will pick up the win as well. Foton takes second, Leopard third, but Zones will jump ahead after penalties. Lehman will jump ahead as well. Now Kardanov, he jumps ahead as well. Napadovsky's down to 9th. Napadovsky's in 9th. Foton has won the championship, ladies and gentlemen. But wow, what a race. Final confirmation then, Formula Danny wins ahead of Foton. Zones in third, ahead of his fellow Pole, Lehman. Kardanov in 5th, ahead of Krusix, Nameless, and Matthias. And Napadovsky being demoted down into 9th place does mean that Foton is your ORL Season 11 champion. Leopard rounds out the top 10. So, what does the Japanese Grand Prix mean in terms of the championships? Well, as we mentioned, with Hyperz being excluded, Foton now has over 105-point advantage to Napadovsky, which means that even if Napadovsky wins the remaining 4 races and picks up the fast lap, with Foton not securing any points, it does mean that Foton will have the championship. So congratulations to Foton, our ORL Season 11 champion. As we mentioned, Napadovsky is currently sitting in 3rd place, with Formula Danny in 4th, leading the Alfa Romeos. Lehman is in 5th, but be careful because the Leopard is climbing through the order quickly. He's currently sitting 6th place with 74 points. Just 1 place off the Ferrari of Mark, who had an unfortunate DNF in Japan. Matthias is in 8th in the second William on 60 points. And then tied is Nameless and Matthias Colligan, aka Hayes. Zones is in 11th. He's making quick work up the order as well, with Wow in 12th ahead of Krusix. In the Constructors' Championship, Toro Rosso lead by 33 points over Mercedes, with a lot still to play for in the Constructors' Championship. Red Bull are a further 70 points behind on 181 points, with Williams not too far off in 4th place. And then we have the 3-way battle for 5th. Ferrari in 5th, ahead of Alfa, who climb back up the table after Formula Danny returns at Suzuka, with McLaren being led by the insurgent Leopard. They're on 108 points and only 20 points shy of this battle. Haas are in 8th, followed by Renault and Racing Point. We have been kindly joined by our race winner, Formula Danny. Kalsfer, Nameless, and Triton Lehman have also jumped in as Kalsfer jumps out and back in. But you know, we have to start with our race winner, Formula Danny. It's been a while since we've had you. It's a pleasure to have you back. And boy, did you deliver again. Just talk us through that race, dude.
To be honest, I don't really remember what happened because I was just driving like instantly. But I really enjoyed the battle with Leopard, yes. And yeah, it was great to not be ahead and only in clean air. It was good that he could challenge me. He was very fast. He overtook me in the pit stops. I needed to get back a little of disadvantage. But after I had fresher tires, I could save my energy. And when I got bored of lapping behind him, I just tried to change a big rhythm and break DRS. And I managed to do that. And at that point, Foton could overtake him, which was pretty nice because I love Hungarian power. And actually, in the last 2 laps, I waited for Foton to give him a bit of DRS to make him keep the second position, as I am Team Foton.
because I was saying to Byron at the time, you were 2.5 seconds back, then all of a sudden you were 1 second back. I was wondering, has Danny made a mistake? And I was like, no, Danny doesn't make mistakes. What's happening here? I was wondering if you might let him through as well, but no, Danny has to take the win, right?
Yeah, of course.
Moving on, we'll try to come back to you in a second, Danny. Layman, you always seem to be there battling for that third place. The midfield battle looked absolutely crazy out there. How was it, trying to manage, attacking and defending from behind you at the same time?
Defending.
Yeah, so when you're in...
Wait,
yeah,
so
pardon me.
I didn't. The one moment I could defend whole race was when zones overtook me, and I wasn't really defending because I wanted to let him go because I didn't have pace as there was a break and I played other games than F1, so it's my kind of comeback race, and I just needed to get confidence back, and I think it worked really well. So I really enjoyed the first laps for sure, and I was struggling a lot in the last chicane, just not having confidence there yet. And I was doing my best, and it was all to keep other cars behind. So yeah, once you were ahead of like 5 tenths or something like that, you were safe into turn one because the straight isn't long. But it was really fun to drive. I was really pushing the limits and having a good fun behind zones. I was making mistakes. That's not so good, but I was most of the times I was able to correct them and regain some time. But in the end, I just didn't put enough fuel because yeah, I kind of thought it's not so necessary here, but it was. And last few laps I was just running very low fuel modes to make it to the end. I messed up my management again, but yeah, it was better now because I wasn't struggling so much to keep up with guys in front. So yeah, it was a good race, and P4 is a good result.
This is to Kaz4 and Aimless. One of you two can kind of answer this. You guys didn't have the best of qualifyings, either because you couldn't go and complete your lap because of rules, or because you kind of had a bit of an issue crashing out. So I'm interested in hearing kind of how do you have a mentality where you can be set back so far in qualifying? What's your advice to people who get put like that? Because you had a great performance just kind of climbing the grid and getting the kind of overtakes where you can. What would you say to others in the same position as to how you were able to move yourself up that grid without getting super tilted at the start, being like, oh, dang, I'm in P19, how am I supposed to do anything?
Oh, I don't know. It's kind of frustrating because, you lose like nearly 10 seconds to the first place in like 2-3 laps, first 3 laps, and just you need to just live with it, and then there's long race ahead, so it's not gone. And yeah, try a different strategy if possible. That's pretty much all. And make good overtakes.
Nameless?
Yeah, I was kind of prepared, so I knew what will happen. And I think if you start from the back, you should always do the opposite strategy. So you will lose in the beginning, but at the end you are the fastest man or nearly the fastest, and then you can go and pick up some overtakes through the field. So yeah, just don't give up, do your things, and yeah, don't lose your concentration, and yes, go for it.
Right, driver of the day results. I don't think it's any real surprise, but Formula Danny picked that one up with 9 votes. Nameless was second with 2 votes, so somewhat close. Although I feel it's rather surprising. We've got a new champion with Foton, and he only got 1 vote, so feels for him. But Formula Danny, that means that we get to have another awesome track guide from you at Mexico. But ladies and gentlemen, that is all that we have time for, sadly. I wish there was more. It's been so awesome. As you can see, if you want to hit ORL up with a follow on Twitter, you can see their Twitter tag at @team_ORL. Alternatively, well, alternatively, no, as well, you can hit myself or Byron up on Twitter. Hit up Team ORL. You can see everything that's happening from when we have our races to just when we let you know what's happening in constructors and championship standings, etc., etc. Next race will be at Mexico, 7:30 p.m. GMT on Thursday, and then on Saturday we have a bit of a special event coming your way at 6 p.m. Make sure you keep an eye out on Twitter for that one. But that is all for tonight. We have a new champion. Foton finished third last season, but this season he's won the championship from Hyperz and Napadovsky. And on that note, guys, thank you very much for tuning in. Stay fast, and we'll see you next week. Good night.